is not just another tabloid headline. This is not just gossip. This is a slow-motion financial unraveling happening in real time, right in front of all of us, and the numbers, the actual cold, hard numbers, are scarier than anything the British press has written about them in years. Cast your mind back to early 2020. Harry and Meghan walked away from the royal family with the whole world watching. They called it stepping back. They called it choosing freedom. And in those first few months, it genuinely looked like they were about to pull off one of the most spectacular reinventions in modern celebrity history. They landed in California. They moved into Tyler Perry's mansion. They smiled for the cameras, and within months, they had signed what was reported to be a $100 million deal with Netflix. $100 million. At the time, that number felt almost cartoonish. It felt like the universe handing them a golden parachute. People said, well, whatever you think of Harry and Meghan, you cannot say they made the wrong financial move. But here we are in 2026, and the picture looks completely different now. Netflix, as of just days ago, has officially stepped back from, as ever, Meghan's lifestyle brand, this after a multi-year, multi-project relationship with the couple that began with that $100 million handshake back in 2020. Let that land for a moment. The same company that signed them with all that fanfare, that called their story one of the most compelling on the platform, that reportedly extended their deal as recently as August 2025, that company has now quietly walked away from the thing Meghan built her post-royal identity around, and the timing of all of this, brutal. Absolutely brutal. Harry and Meghan's combined estimated net worth sits around $60 million in 2026, according to Celebrity Net Worth, and on paper that sounds like a lot. But here's what people don't talk about. That $60 million is not sitting in a bank account somewhere. A significant portion of it is non-liquid. They carry an estimated $10 million mortgage on their Montecito mansion, a 5.4-acre estate with 9 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, a spa, and a temperature-controlled wine cellar. And real estate experts say the annual operating costs of maintaining that property alone run into the 6-figure range. That's before you even talk about everything else. They reportedly shell out between $2 million and $3 million every single year just on security costs. $2 to $3 million a year, every year, just to keep themselves safe. And that's on top of mortgage payments, staff salaries, school fees for Archie and Lilibet, travel, the upkeep of their image, PR, and all the other invisible costs that come with living the life they have committed to living. When you start doing the math, that glossy $60 million net worth starts to look a lot thinner than it did when you first heard the number. Now here is where it gets really complicated, because the money going out is one thing, but the money coming in, that's where the real problem lies. Harry and Meghan first partnered with Netflix in 2020 with that reported $100 million deal, producing several projects for the platform, including the Harry and Meghan documentary series, Heart of Invictus, and Polo, before announcing in July 2025 that they would not be renewing their overall deal. Think about what that means. They had 6 years to build a media empire off the back of the biggest platform in the world, and when that window closed, what did they have to show for it? While their partnership initially delivered a major hit with the Harry and Meghan docuseries, later projects struggled to maintain the same traction. With Love, Meghan drew just 5.3 million views in early 2025. For a platform that counts hits in the hundreds of millions of streams, 5.3 million is not a number that keeps deals alive. It's a number that ends them. And that's precisely what happened. So now let's talk about As Ever, because this is really where Meghan placed her biggest bet for the future. After the Netflix production deal wound down, the plan was clear. Pivot to a lifestyle brand. Jams, teas, honeys, scented candles, wines, flower sprinkles. The brand sells $64 scented candles, what has been described as the most expensive honey produced by bees, and various other artisanal products. The launch was genuinely impressive. Products sold out almost instantly. Meghan herself posted on Instagram about selling out in under an hour. There were real signs of life there, but Netflix pulling its investment from as ever just days ago changes everything. Sources close to the couple have described the brand situation as a potential bloodbath if they don't act quickly. They had no outside investors, no silent partners. Everything was funded out of their own pocket. "This isn't Etsy pricing," one insider said. "This is luxury production, luxury packaging, and luxury storage, all paid for up front. All paid for up front." That phrase should terrify you if you're a Harry and Meghan supporter, because what it means is that every dollar of unsold inventory, every batch of honey that doesn't move off the shelf, every candle sitting in a warehouse in Montecito, that's not some investor's money sitting there. That is Harry and Meghan's personal money. And without Netflix's backing anymore, the question becomes, who covers the costs of scaling this thing? A royal commentator and former aide, Norman Baker, was blunt about it. "Meghan and Harry's income will decline in the future. It's declining now. They've done the big hits they could do, and there is nothing else to come." And then there is the legal situation, which honestly might be the most alarming piece of this entire puzzle. Harry's ongoing lawsuit against Associated Newspapers Limited in the High Court has become, in the words of royal watchers, a high-stakes financial gamble. If Harry loses, uncovered legal costs could range from $8 to $10 million, roughly $10 to $12 million, or potentially as high as $38 million, which translates to nearly $50 million. $50 million. That is nearly their entire estimated net worth. And the thing is, this is not some abstract risk. Harry lost a previous case against the British press, and in that earlier case he won $150,000, but had to cover his own legal costs of $500,000, meaning he actually walked away having lost money despite winning. That pattern, that tendency, to fight battles that cost more than they're worth, is now playing out on a scale that could genuinely destabilize everything they've built. Reports suggest that Harry actually approached King Charles to help cover the staggering financial burden of the legal battle, only to receive a firm refusal. A senior royal aide reportedly described the request as entirely inappropriate, emphasizing that Harry is now a private citizen pursuing his own personal legal battles. Let that sink in. He went to his father. He asked the King of England, the man he wrote 400 pages essentially criticizing, to cover his legal bills. And the king said no, publicly, diplomatically, but absolutely no. A royal commentator put it plainly in a televised discussion: the palace cannot become a financial safety net for personal crusades. On top of all of this, 2026 began with an investigation into financial discrepancies at Archewell Philanthropies. And sources close to the couple have warned that a blow-up connected to the charity could potentially even strain their 7-year marriage. Archewell is Harry and Meghan's crown jewel, one courtier said. It's been central to their humanitarian mission since leaving the royal family. And yet even that crown jewel has been tarnished. At least 5 senior staff members have quit Archewell over the years, and the couple made the jarring decision to downsize 60% of their charity's staff. Now, to be fair, and I think it's important to be fair here, neither Harry nor Meghan is standing on a street corner. Harry has diversified his income in several ways. He's chief impact officer at BetterUp, a public face of Travelist, an investor in Ethic, and he and Meghan earn estimated fees of $1 million each per speaking engagement. Those speaking gigs are real money. That's not nothing. But here's the structural problem. Speaking fees are not passive income. Every time they want $1 million, one of them has to get on a stage somewhere and perform. That is not a business. That is a job. And as their cultural relevance continues to fade, and the evidence suggests it is fading, the invitations for those stages become fewer, and the fees become negotiable. The moment the world stops being fascinated by Harry and Meghan, the speaking circuit dries up. And the world, let's be honest, has a notoriously short attention span. Sources close to the couple told Page Six bluntly, "Harry's not really doing anything in America. It seems he is still very wrapped up in the past. There have been rumors about new businesses, but he and Meghan don't have the best track record." The person who said that sounds harsh. But look at the evidence. The Spotify deal, worth a reported $25 million, ended after Meghan produced just 12 episodes of a podcast. 12. The Netflix production deal is over. As ever just lost its biggest institutional backer. Archewell has hemorrhaged staff. The legal bills are mounting. And the royal family, the institution they walked away from and the one that funded their lifestyle for decades, has made it unmistakably clear that it will not come to the rescue. Sources who appear to be close to the couple have admitted they've realized they need to downsize their lifestyle if they want to make this work long-term. Yahoo! Can't live like a king and queen without the money flowing in from the palace. That was an actual line from an insider. And the darkest quote of all came from someone described as having deep knowledge of their financial situation, who said simply, "They're staring at the possibility that millions are already gone, inquisitor millions already gone, and a legal bill that could potentially swallow what's left." There is something genuinely Shakespearean about all of this, and I don't use that word lightly. Here you have a prince, literally a prince, who gave up one of the most secure existences in human history. He had palaces, he had protection, he had a family fortune built across centuries, he had a role, a purpose, a place in history guaranteed from the moment he was born. And he walked away from all of it, convinced that the other side of that decision would be filled with Hollywood deals and global impact and a new kind of freedom that the royal family could never understand. And now, in 2026, the Hollywood deals are evaporating. The Spotify deal is gone. The Netflix partnership is downgraded to a first-look arrangement at best. As ever just lost its most powerful backer. The charity is being investigated. The legal costs are astronomical. The family bridge is burned, and the $60 million that looked so grand is quietly being eaten from every direction. By a mortgage, by security costs, by legal fees, by failed ventures, by the sheer cost of maintaining the image of people who want to be seen as wealthy, powerful, and relevant. There's a version of this story where Meghan's As Ever brand takes off independently, becomes the next Goop or something beyond it, and they stabilize their finances through a combination of speaking, brand deals, and smart investment. That version is still possible. Meghan is not stupid. She is sharp, she is determined, and she has proven she can generate enormous consumer interest even when the critical reception is mixed. Products sell out in hours. That's real. That's undeniable. But there's another version, the one that the people around them seem increasingly worried about, where the costs keep compounding, the income keeps declining, the lawsuits keep draining. And one day they wake up in that $14 million Montecito mansion and realize that the freedom they chose has become its own kind of trap. The cruel irony is that Harry and Meghan left the royal family because they felt controlled, surveilled, and unsupported. They wanted to build something of their own, and in doing so, they have ended up in a position where they desperately need what they walked away from. Not the titles, not the protocol, not the hierarchy, but the stability, the guaranteed income, the institution's ability to absorb financial shocks without even flinching. The palace doesn't have a $10 million mortgage. The palace doesn't need speaking fees. The palace doesn't need a Netflix deal to keep the lights on. Harry walked away from the most financially bulletproof institution in the world, and he is now discovering what the rest of us already knew, that freedom is expensive, that Hollywood is brutal, and that the world's sympathy has an expiration date. Whether you love them or you've never forgiven them for what they did to the Queen, what's happening right now is a genuine cautionary tale. And the next 12 months, with the legal cases, with As Ever operating without Netflix, with Archewell under scrutiny, are going to tell us a lot about whether this story ends with a remarkable comeback or something far more uncomfortable. Want to know what you think. Do you believe Meghan's as ever brand can survive without Netflix backing it? Do you think Harry's legal strategy is principled or reckless? And is there any world in which King Charles steps in to prevent the situation from getting truly catastrophic, or has that bridge been burned beyond repair? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're new here and you want to follow this story as it unfolds, subscribe and hit the bell, because this one is far from over. And if you know someone who's been following the Sussex saga from the beginning, share this with them, because the chapter we're entering right now might be the most consequential one yet.